Until February, I was president of the Chilean Academy of Science for 6 years, and we were very happy to have two very strong programs. One is science education program, and the other one is Women in Science. As a matter of fact, today we have a president and a vice president woman, which is of the 6 academies in the Institute of Chile. This one is the only one that has ever had a woman president. So, but as important as the gender issue is the rational thinking issue which science brings to society. There are different theories. We are very strong supporters, like Bruce Albert said the other day in the Academy, of trying to bring to a society rational thinking. But our species historically has also been very interested in magic. So there is this balance against which we have to fight, inverted commas. But we are trying hard, at least, as Bruce said the other day. So it's a great pleasure for me to introduce Professor Dato Lee Yi Cheong, from Malaysia. He is today the coordinator of the Global Council of Science Education Program of EAP. EAP is the international network of academies with more than 100 academies worldwide. We just had a General Assembly just over a month ago in a very nice place in South Africa. So the title of his talk is, in Spanish it's here,
The Broad Strategy of the IAP SEP for the coming years. Professor Cheong.
Ladies and gentlemen, good morning to everyone. This morning, I want to bring the talk to the big picture. That means, I think yesterday, we have heard many wonderful IPSI success stories from Latin America, and also the Americans and other parts of the world. I think, to me, we have been talking to the converted, in this audience. So I want to bring the IPSI out into the big world. That's why I want to relate what we do in the inter-academy partnership to the UN, United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. As I said yesterday morning, the IAP SEP program, actually, it is one of 2 programs of the inter-academic partnership. One is advice to government, and the other one is science education. So the science education program is managed by the IAP SEP Global Council, of which the Malaysian Academy of Sciences is the lead academy, and I have the honor to be the chairman. I think now at the global level, the 8 United Nations Millennium Development Goals, which from 2000 to 2015, has now been succeeded by the 17 United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, which will last for 15 years until 2030. So I've listed the goals so that, when you get my presentation, you can have a look at them. But I want to actually focus on the education goal. And the education goal is goal number 5. So I've listed all the goals. You can sort of look at them at your leisure. But I would like to ask you to go to the website of the Sustainable Development Goals and then have a look that these 17 SDGs have got associated with them 169 targets. And it is very ambitious to try to achieve 169 targets within 15 years. But without a doubt, the UN SDGs are very holistic, multidisciplinary, and also multi-stakeholder in participation. But to me, what is most important is that the SDGs boldly proclaim the end of global poverty by 2030. To me, if we can end global poverty, that means the standard of living in wealth creation and employment creation, especially in the developing world, have been successful, then most of the other SDGs would have been achieved by 2030. Now, ladies and gentlemen, who are the poor of the world? The poor of the world are the women and children in the developing world. And of course, we know that women, the children are cared for by women as mothers. So actually, apart from being an advocate of the IPSI in the Sustainable Development Goal number 5, the Education Development Goal, one of my very passionate advocacy is Sustainable Development Goal number 4, achieve gender equality and empower all women and girls by 2030. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we only have got 15 years. How do we achieve gender equality in 15 years? So this is the one very big objective of the UN Sustainable Development Goals that I'm trying to help to come about. And to me, in order for the gender equality to be achieved, we must have gender equality as the overarching goal or agenda for all the 17 Sustainable Development Goals. Every SDG must have as its priority agenda and gender action plan. And the gender action plan must actually spread across the 15 years. And if we put every gender equality action plan of every SDG into a big data analysis, it will come out, the big data analysis will show you the success story and the failures of every action plan. And this actually should then get the SDGs who are weak in gender action to try to emulate the success story of the other SDGs. And hopefully by this means, it will, sort of try to achieve the gender equality by 2030. Of course, this is not the forum to talk about gender equality, but if Chile has another conference about gender equality, please invite me back. So I will then talk about how we can fight for gender equality. Now, in talking about gender equality, I think everyone must lead by example. So I am the chair of the IAP SEP, the Global Council. One of my first actions is to make sure that the Global Council has perfect gender balance. And you see that I brought here from Asia Pacific all the ladies, charming young ladies in my Global Council. Now, the Global Council is under the Inter-Academy Partnership. I want to ask every academy of this Inter-Academy Partnership, how many percentage is their women? Even the Chilean Academy of Sciences has a women president and a women vice president. How many in total membership are the women in the Chilean Academy of Sciences?
In Latin America, it's the highest number in the percentage in the world.
How many?
IAP.
What percentage?
Like 20%. In Latin America, as an average.
Oh, I think 20% is a very good, percent. So anyway, I want to now come back to so I've gone the other way. So I want to say that the SDG is actually a very intensive consultation for 7 to 8 million people since Rio Plus 20 in 2012. So I would like to urge you to look at this website to understand how the SDGs, the 17 SDGs, has been agreed by the United Nations and the member states. And I would like to refer you to the Secretary General Ban Ki-moon's the synthesis report entitled The Road to Dignity by 2030, Ending Poverty, Transforming All Life, and Protecting the Climate. And if you get to this document, you understand how everybody agreed to the 17 SDGs. So in the synthesis report, the SDGs actually place great emphasis on technology. You can see the quote on technology. But I think, to me, the SDGs actually should also have mentioned science and engineering. Because, ladies and gentlemen, without science and engineering, there cannot be any technology. If you just run through the 17 SDGs, I think you will convince yourself that without science, engineering, and technology, none of the SDGs on energy, water, climate change, mitigation, infrastructure, cities, food, health, and even education and gender equality will be achieved. Most importantly, the achievement of all the 17 UN SDGs by 2030 will critically depend on the availability of skilled human capital, especially in the developing world. Therefore, education is key. So I want to now refer to the education goal. The goal number 5 says to ensure inclusive and equitable quality education and promote lifelong learning opportunities for all. There are 7 targets associated with SDG number 4, but with great emphasis on vocational and technical education and training at the para and sub-professional level, even to craftsman level. So as an engineer, I welcome this. But we should not forget that the education foundation of science, engineering, and technology for para and sub-professional is still science education in schools. This is where IAP, SEP has been focusing its effort from preschool to primary school upwards. But with a fundamental difference, science education should be inquiry-based, more commonly known as IPSI. In this conference, like yesterday, we have listened to many experts in IPSI. I would therefore refrain from preaching more to the converted. Nevertheless, I believe it is worth reminding everyone why IPSI is important. IPSI starts with the scientific premise, I do not know. Students are given a hypothesis. Through group discussion and experimentation by the students, they eventually come to the right conclusion. It has been proved that IPSI improves science literacy, numerical literacy, and language literacy of students. IPSI enables students to question and doubt every proposition of the so-called prophet, unless his proposition is supported by experiment and borne out by evidence. The world, ladies and gentlemen, and our young are constantly confronted by prophets of excessive military expenditure, of religious fundamentalism leading to terrorism, of profligate consumption as the model of economic growth. I believe that the only effective defense is a discerning and rational global citizenry nurtured by evidence-based education the scientific way. Through IAP and its member academies, IPSI has spread to many countries and taken root in their education curriculum, especially in the developed world. The outstanding example is Laman Arapat, initiative of the French Academy of Sciences, now as a Lamat Foundation. Lamat has helped to spread IBSC to more than 60 countries. In Asia Pacific, Lamat had mentored Brunei, Cambodia, China, Indonesia, Laos, Malaysia, Pakistan, and Vietnam. And in China, it is known as learning by doing. In Malaysia, we call it I do, I discover. However, I personally believe that IAP-SCP has barely scratched the surface. Among the 193 countries of the United Nations, IPSI is not known in most countries in the developing world. If IAP-SCP is to be an effective player in helping the United Nations and its member states achieve the SDGs through IPSI, we must break out of the cocoon of academics and reach out to the wide world yonder. In this endeavor, I would like to introduce my other organization, ISTIC. ISTIC is the International Science, Technology and Innovation Center for South-South Cooperation under the auspices of UNESCO. So it is a UNESCO center. But as a Category 2 center of UNESCO, all the expenses are paid by the host government, in this case, the Malaysian government. So ISTIC was actually launched in 2008. And our program is devoted to institutional and human capital capacity building in science, technology, innovation, especially through South-South cooperation and through North-South-South cooperation, like our IPSI program has been with Laman Lapat as our partner. So it is one of the most successful North-South-South cooperation program under ISTIC. As ISTIC is a UNESCO center, I've harbored the ambition to get UNESCO, which is a global custodian of education, science, and culture, to take the global leadership of IPSI. To me, the logical step would be to get the two Paris-based organizations, IPSI and Laman Lapat, together. I think that I have finally succeeded. On 5th of February, just a week ago, ISTIC organized a historic event in UNESCO head office, Paris, on science education together with Laman Lapat. I managed to get the UNESCO Director General, Irina Pokova, and our Malaysian Minister of Education to actually officiate the event. But the biggest impact was made by the French students from the CAF Primary School who demonstrated scientific principles a la Laman Lapat with such confidence and assurance that astounded the audience of representatives of permanent delegation to UNESCO and also UNESCO executive. So I want to just give you some impression of the event. This is my Minister of Education together with Irina Pokova. Then you see the French students all sitting in the front when my minister officiated the event. Then you see the demonstration by the French students. And then, of course, Malaysia gave the gift, some small gift to the French students. Now, the impact of this event, I want to quote from the speech of the Director General of UNESCO, Irina Pokova, especially the French part of the speech. Now, she says, the world needs science, science needs young talents, and we know that the challenge we are confronted with is one of major scale. Science education slowed down all over the world. Students from lower and higher secondary schools turn away from science. The scientific literacy and culture reflects nearly nothing of the past century of scientific progress. Now, she was citing the philosopher Gaston Bachelard, who actually say that science does not tell the truth, cannot tell the truth. So his impact is that the science is now considered to be too difficult, disconnected from daily life, distant and abstract. So Irina Bokova says, it is high time we reverse this trend and put our hand on the door, as well as so well proposed by George Chapak, the founder of Laman Alapat. She further continued, we shall place science at the heart of the school curriculum, initiate students to scientific miracles, find new approaches, more innovative, and convey the taste for science. This is why UNESCO campaigns in favor of the investigative pedagogy, which puts students in an active inquiry situation. She talked about the L'Oreal program for women scientists, and she said the same vision inspired the partnership between UNESCO and ISTIC. And because gender, women in science, technology, and innovation is the ISTIC priority program together with IPSI. She concluded, the world needs science, science needs new talents, and together with ISTIC and the astounding work done by the teams of the Foundation Laman Alapat in more than 50 countries, UNESCO will continue to work in order to attract more young people towards science throughout the world. For talent can be met everywhere, in developing countries, in the developed world, and in the world ready to develop, ready to cooperate. So now, ladies and gentlemen, I have done my job as a matchmaker. So now it is up to Laman Alapat to follow up with the UNESCO Director General Irina Bokova about promotion of IPSI under the global leadership of UNESCO. Of course, as a very good friend of Irina Bokova, I stand ever ready to come to Paris to help to get this union or the marriage between UNESCO and Laman Alapat Foundation happen. In reaching out to embrace the world, I'm now engaging in the other very important initiative in the developing world. That's the China initiative of One Belt, One Road, initiative of China that try to emulate the spread of the Silk Road, the ancient Silk Road from China through Central Asia to Europe, and the oceanic Silk Road from China through Southeast Asia, Indian Ocean to East Africa and to the Arabian Sea. So I have proposed to the IAP SEP member from China to develop a One Belt, One Road education curriculum on the fusion of civilization for schools in the 60 partner countries. Actually, the One Belt, One Road program of China has spread all over the world into Americas and also to Africa. I think in the current dangerous crash of civilization, the solution must lie in interfaith and cross-civilization dialogue of our young. This education curriculum, again, is inspired by Laman Alapat, the thematic program, Discovery in Muslim countries and Discovery in European countries, that highlight for French students the scientific discovery of the giants of science in the golden age of Islam, and also by the European scientific giants after the European Renaissance. So I actually, this project is going to start with a pilot forum in Xinjiang in China. So I'll leave it to my friend, Madame Zhu Ho, to tell you later about this project. Then the other very big impactful event last year is the Trans-Pacific Partnership, TPP. Consists of 12 countries, including Chile and Malaysia. but it actually originated with the 4 very small countries of Brunei, Chile, New Zealand, and Singapore. This partnership is going to form the biggest trading bloc in the world. And in the TPP agreement, in Chapter 20, it deals with capacity building, transfer of technology, with an emphasis on education. I understand that this chapter was proposed originally by Chile. So I'm trying now to engage TPP on IPSI, perhaps starting with the hands-on computer literacy program and computer coding program for young children. Now this is a blank sheet because TPP is going to be formalized and launched only 18 months, I think, after the presidential election in the USA. So it's a blank sheet. So under Chapter 20, it's a blank sheet. It's up to us to put writings on the blank sheet. So it is a golden opportunity to try to promote IPSI under the umbrella of the TPP. So I hope that during this conference, I actually would try to engage the Chilean players to try to get some initiative going. So I was very fortunate to have had a very good discussion with Ambassador Gabriel Rodriguez from your Ministry of Foreign Affairs. It was him who actually put this Chapter 20 into the TPP agreement. I think many people think that I'm a crazy guy, talking about IPSI throughout the world and about gender equality. But actually, I firmly believe that when there's a will, there will be a way. Thank you very much.